Welcome back to Book Summary 5. I'm Sammy, and today we're diving into a book that blends the excitement of sci-fi dreams with the rigor of real-world physics, The Future of Fusion Energy by Parisi and Ball. If you've ever wondered whether we're on the cusp of unlocking the power of the stars, or if nuclear fusion will finally stop being always 30 years away, this book offers a refreshingly honest and deeply informative journey into the science, the hurdles, and the hope of fusion energy. Let's start with what fusion actually is, because while the term gets thrown around a lot, it's often misunderstood. Fusion is the process that powers the sun. It involves taking light atoms, like hydrogen, and fusing them together under immense pressure and heat to form heavier elements, like helium. The kicker? This process releases a staggering amount of energy. Unlike nuclear fission, which splits atoms and produces radioactive waste, fusion is clean, safe, and essentially limitless. At least in theory. Parisi and Ball waste no time in acknowledging the elephant in the room. Fusion has been hyped for decades. Yet despite billions in research and some flashy breakthroughs, we still don't have a commercial fusion power plant. The authors, both physicists with real experience in the field, tackle this with a refreshing dose of humility. They admit that fusion is hard. But they also show, in clear and often witty prose, how much progress has been made and why now might actually be different. Much of the book is structured to walk the reader through the science without overwhelming them. You'll learn about the fundamental physics, what makes atoms fuse, why you need insanely high temperatures, and how magnetic fields are used to contain this hellishly hot plasma without melting the reactor. They explain terms like tokamaks, stellarators, inertial confinement, and magnetic mirrors, not just as abstract concepts, but as real engineering solutions being tested in labs around the world. And then there's ITER, the international megaproject in France, that is essentially the world's most ambitious attempt to prove that fusion is not just scientifically possible, but practically scalable. The book goes into detail about ITER's goals, timelines, and the political and logistical challenges of coordinating such a massive multinational endeavor. It's a fascinating case study in how science and geopolitics are deeply intertwined. But Parisi and Ball don't stop at ITER. They look at the booming private sector, where startups like Commonwealth Fusion Systems and TE Technologies are using new materials, machine learning, and faster prototyping to chase the holy grail of net positive energy. There's an energy in these chapters that feels very now, a sense that fusion might be the next SpaceX moment, where innovation outpaces bureaucracy. They also address a central philosophical and ethical question. If fusion becomes viable, what does that mean for the world? Would it reduce carbon emissions and save the climate? Would it make fossil fuels obsolete? Would it create geopolitical instability as energy production becomes radically decentralized? These aren't just thought experiments. They're real-world scenarios that demand new ways of thinking about policy, economy, and international cooperation. Another thing the book does remarkably well is explain why fusion is worth the investment, even if it takes decades. Because fusion doesn't just offer a new energy source. It offers a fundamentally different relationship with energy. No CO2 emissions, no meltdown risks, no long-lived radioactive waste, and fuel sources that are practically inexhaustible. The payoff could be civilization-changing. But this isn't a book of hype. The authors make it clear that fusion is not a silver bullet. It won't solve climate change by itself. It won't arrive in time to meet the 2030 climate targets. And it won't be cheap, at least not initially. But it is coming. And the work we do now will define whether it arrives in time to change our energy trajectory for the better. In the end, the future of fusion energy leaves you feeling a rare kind of optimism, one grounded not in wishful thinking, but in serious, hard-earned knowledge. It's a book that makes you feel smarter just by reading it, but it also makes you think more deeply about where we're headed, as a planet and as a species. That's all for today's episode of Book Summary 5. I'm Sammy. And if you've ever looked up at the stars and wondered whether we could borrow a little of their power down here on Earth, this book might convince you that one day we just might. Until next time, stay curious and happy reading.